Good morning. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us for another edition of the Morning Breeze, man. Always rocking with you guys, as always, man. Outside of me, I got my guy, Mr. Media himself, Jordan JC, in the building. Well, this is a fun way to jump into the show, right? Starting to see some NFL news come down. And dare I say, it could be in favor for the Chicago Bears. We got to talk about a couple of big names that are expected to hit the open market. Of course, we talked ad nauseum about Trey Smith. And now we can see kind of what is expected on that front. But could Joey Bosa be somebody available? And should the Chicago Bears be interested in Bosa? We'll talk about all that and more on today's episode of The Morning Breeze. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Appreciate y'all for rocking with us, man. How y'all feeling today? How y'all feeling today, man? I know we getting this cracking a little bit later than normal today. I told y'all. New baby. Sometimes I need sleep. And sometimes it's just like, what are we talking about? Yeah, man, are we going to run this back? We going to run this same conversation back. But appreciate y'all for tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. Leave a 5-star review. So y'all let them know what to do, man.
Come on. Push the button. Come on. Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push the button.
You heard what she said.
Tap in with us, by the way. Merch coming soon, baby. Merch. New merch. Who this? New merch. Who this? We got merch coming soon. Tap in with us. All right, let's get into the conversation, man. Let's start it off here. Pro Football Talk and The Athletic both talking about the Trey Smith conversation. And Pro Football Talk came out with a report that's dropped about 4 or 5 minutes ago. Basically saying that the Chiefs are not expected to franchise or transition tag Trey Smith. Now, this is interesting because the transition tag, putting the transition tag on Trey Smith allows them to gain some draft capital back if he were to leave. This is basically an outright either you're going to sign him or let him hit free agency. Now, I mean, listen, when you're talking about tagging guards and centers, right? It's a tough situation to put yourself in regardless. I was never expecting the franchise tag to come for Trey Smith. I thought more so maybe you see a transition tag type of situation coming in here, but it seems like neither of these are going to be in place. And now this could open up the opportunity for the Chicago Bears to actually swoop in and just say, hey, listen, we're going to offer you the baggy bag. If you are not willing to come here after getting the baggy bag, then I don't know what to tell you. But at least now the Bears have the chance with him hitting free agency, or him expecting, I should say, to hit free agency, that he's going to have his pick of the litter, shall you say. Listen, he's the number one candidate out there right now. He's the number one guy that people are looking at. Every team that needs an offensive lineman more so is looking to get a Trey Smith in the building. We've talked ad nauseum, like I said, about what kind of player he was this season. Just to remind everybody of some of the measurables at the fifth number: 6'6", 321 pounds, 25 years old. He was a 6th round pick, but last season he was one of the best guards in football. Had an 80 run block grade, 70 pass block grade, 78 overall grade. Some people were thrown off by the Super Bowl game. I wasn't swayed by that in the slightest. Didn't upset me in the slightest. I mean, listen, it is a good, it's a tough game that I don't think reflects a good season. You know what I mean? In the entire season, 1,115 snaps, 0 sacks allowed. 0 sacks allowed. That's the number we're looking for, ladies and gentlemen, especially with what we've seen out of Caleb Williams this last season. To me, the fact that Trey Smith is hitting free agency, this one is an intriguing name for me, and I'm very excited to kind of see what he's going to be. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments, man, because this is a little back and forth kind of episode, and we'll get to the Bosa stuff coming soon here. But yeah, we're gonna have a lot. We're gonna have a lot coming for this Bears offseason, because to me, now you're talking about this kind of being the beginning, and are the Bears going to continue the plan? The plan with the coaching staff was, boom, we're going to go out there, we're going to spend money, we're going to get the best guys that are available. We talked about this yesterday, right? Even having a conversation around Drew Dahlman. You know, these are the top guys that are available right now for the Chicago Bears to go out there and get. Are they going to be interested in going out there and getting the top guys? Are they going to be interested in spending top dollar? You're going to be spending quite a bit of money on a Trey Smith. You're probably talking, if the Chiefs offered nothing, which I think is really the big conversation here. If the Chiefs offered nothing, you're probably talking about being in the range of 22 to 25 million. He's going to be the highest paid guard in football. He's going to be the biggest name available for you on the offensive line right now. That's kind of the situation that you're sitting in right now. If you are okay paying that, which I don't know why you'd go all in on a coaching staff and not go all in on the trenches for that coaching staff, although we have seen that here in Chicago. I think you kind of have to also have the conversation on, okay, well, what if the Chiefs do get in on this? Because The Athletic talked about this as well and said there should be a push to retain Trey Smith in the building. They reads here, says Smith is expected to be the most coveted offensive lineman this year in free agency. The Chiefs are not expected to place the franchise tag or transition tag on Smith, but instead the Chiefs should do their best to keep one of their best players by offering Smith a 4 or 5 year contract. Smith entered the league in 2021 alongside Creed Humphrey, and the two have become best friends. Last year, the Chiefs signed Humphrey, the league's best center, to a 4-year contract that included guaranteed money in 25 and 26. Veach and Reed should offer Smith a similar contract, one that makes him one of the league's highest paid guards. Now, where the Bears are going to kind of have a bit of a struggle here, right, is, listen, you're not a winning organization. You're not a winning organization. He's coming from an organization that just went to the Super Bowl, has won 2 Super Bowls, I believe, since he's been drafted. He's already a 2-time Super Bowl champ. He's going to still get a ridiculous bag there. Why am I leaving to come to the Bears? Which means you have to outpay with the money. You have to up the money, and that's where the question comes in. What is the line for the Bears to go out and spend at guard? I said for me yesterday, I'm all in on spending as much money as you can, but you do still have to build out other parts of this team. You do still have to build out the rest of this offensive line, and you're going to have to pay people to do that. You do still have to go out there and probably spend a little bit of money or a little bit of draft capital and a little bit of money on the other side of the football to get an edge rusher in here if you don't get one of those premier guys at the top of the draft. Now, there's still guys in the second, third round that are going to be solid pieces, right? But I think the Mason Grahams, the Abdul Carters are kind of the name that you really lock in on there. To me, if you get to the $30 million range with Trey Smith in a bidding war, because that's what it's going to take to get him out of here. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's an ask for him. That's a tough place to go. That's an uncomfortable place for Ryan Poles to go because of the obligation to build out the rest of this offensive line. But you have to convince him to leave. Again, I told you, Trent McDuffie, great name, love the player, think he's one of the best DBs in football. After what I saw from Pat Mahomes, there's no way if I'm the Chiefs, I'm letting Trey Smith walk out that door. I'm just not. I'm getting a contract done. Hey, bud, you want to go back to the Super Bowl? Here's the place to do that. Here's 4 years at this price and with these incentives, and here we go. Here's your guarantees. We're going to convert this to bonus. Here we go. The Bears have to combat with that. Super Bowl culture matters. This guy knows nothing but winning. Trey Smith knows absolutely nothing but getting to Super Bowls and dominating. You're going to have to overpay no matter what, but you may be in a bidding war with a Super Bowl caliber team, and that makes things a little bit more difficult for me in the Trey Smith market. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below, man. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Vizzo Joe said, Kevin Warren sent an email to all season ticket holders with a 10% hike, but states Ben Johnson will be aggressive during free agency. Love to hear that. Love to hear that, man. Listen, you have to be. How can you not? How can you not? How can you put this coaching staff together and not go out there and try and get the best of the best? It's impossible. It's impossible. Pterodactyl Pop, shout out to you. My guy said, depends if we make a trade for a rusher. If we do, then maybe we look at someone like Becton at guard instead of Smith. Here's my only concern with Becton is, are you going to go out and spend money on the guy that got on the best offensive line in football and kind of figured some things out? I'm not saying he didn't play well. I'm not saying he wasn't talented. I'm not saying that he wasn't a reason why they were the best offensive line in football this season. But are the 4 other reasons bigger than the reason he was good? My question on him would be kind of what was old boy that was out of Alabama that got drafted, came to the league? Not NFL, very different than the pros. It's just the first thought that came to my mind. Is it J.C. Latham? No, not J.C. Latham. We had him here. Alex Leatherwood. Perfect example to me. Now, again, from college to pro is very different, but you looked at how well he played in college with all of those guys next to him dominating. He's a dog out there. He was the best guy to take in the draft. There were no questions on him. He got to the NFL and you went, oh, it was because of the other 4 guys. I wonder that with Trey Smith. I wonder that with Trey Smith, I'm sorry, with Mekhi Becton. I wonder that with Becton. I'm not saying that is the case, but I do have that concern. Charles said, I like Trey Smith, but I'd rather overspend on Dahlman and sign Zeitler and draft a top 25 guard in the draft, Booker or Jackson. Listen, I'm not opposed to any option that improves this offensive line. I think Zeitler's an interesting name, but I think Zeitler, again, here's my thing with Zeitler. You have guys that you know. Right? Trey Smith, there's no question. Trey Smith is a great football player. Now, whether he stays great, that's a different question. But right now, Trey Smith is a great football player. I know that. I see it in the NFL. He's a great football player with question marks next to him at tackle. I know that. I see it. You are trenches away from being a different team. You are a good offensive line away from this offense looking like what we hope it looks like. Zeitler, to me, good move, solid move, not a bad move, but it is the budget move. How have the budget moves worked out for us in the long run? That's why we're here. The budget moves are Ryan Bates. The budget moves are Coleman Shelton. The budget moves are, you know what I mean? It is going out and feeling comfortable going in with DeMarcus Walker. You know what? Like, that's my only thing. Again, I'm not saying you can't go get guard. I'm not saying you can't fix it in the way that you are. But I have guarantees that this works, and it costs me money. You know what I mean? Like that, I would hope that they're spending money. We watched them let Orlando Brown walk out the door because they wouldn't meet his asking price. We also watched Ryan Pace not even get involved, or I'm sorry, I keep saying Pace for some reason. We also watched Ryan Poles not even get involved in the Orlando Brown conversation. And I think people kind of forget that. While there hasn't been enough of an investment with guys that have hit, There's also been some ignoring on guys that we were just as feverish on. Saying, you got your left tackle of the future. That's Orlando Brown. Go get him. Everybody's losing their minds on this guy. Ryan Poles is like, nah, I'm good. I heard what's happening. I'm good. Okay. All right. Now Orlando Brown looks like an absolute joke just about everywhere he's been since then. He looked good there. He looked good in that situation, but it didn't pan out. So I think if we do see Ryan Poles get involved here, especially with one of these top guys, if we do see Ben Johnson get involved here, especially with one of these top guys, that would be a situation that I'd feel a little bit more comfortable in. Bizzo Joe said budget band-aids and projects should be a thing of the past. Listen, it's not going to be. It's not all. Every team has budget band-aids, right? They do. It's not going to be a thing of the past. You have to find budget guys for your budget to work. You have to, if you're the Kansas City Chiefs, you get 2 Super Bowls because you found Trey Smith in the 6th round. You're going to have to find those budget guys, those guys that are, listen, TJ Edwards is a budget guy. TJ Edwards is a great off-ball linebacker. He's a budget guy. Now, is he going to stay a budget guy? Probably not. You're probably going to have to pay him. But to me, you've got proven available. You know what I mean? You've got proven names available. Trey Smith, Drew Dolman. We've seen what they can do in not great circumstances. That's what scares me, like I said, a little bit about Mekhi Becton. Stephen Noble, 100%. It comes down to development as well. Did you get the coaches that are going to be able to get the most out of these guys in the building? Injuries different. You're going to have injuries. Things are going to pop up. I forget who just said it. I want to say it was the DB. I can't think of who it was. I don't think it was Ryan Clark either. But he was talking about, giving effort at the end of the season and playing through injury and stuff like that. And he was like, after 2 weeks, everyone's hurt. Like, hurt is not an excuse. If you're injured, it's different. But after 2 weeks, everyone's hurt. That's where the talent comes in. That's where the strength and conditioning comes in. That's where the technique comes in. That's where the development and the coaching comes in to get you through those moments because everyone's hurt. So injury aside, do you have the right pieces in place for all of those other things to put people in the right position? That's kind of the big question. Joe Break said they need quite a few players, in my opinion. I don't know about that, right? Because I think you need very important players. I don't know if you need quite a few players, but I think you need a few very important players. If you can get a Trey Smith, Drew Dolman, maybe you do go into next season with Tevin Jenkins. I'm not thrilled about it. Maybe you do go into next season with Braxton Jones. I'm not thrilled about it. But there is a clear, okay, we've got these pieces. We're going to accentuate this side of the line because more than likely you're going to have Drew Dolman, Trey Smith, Darnell Wright, if that is the signings that you're able to make. I'm assuming you draft somebody on that left side as well, either tackle or guard, to try and figure that out one way or the other, right? If that is the case, my right side is set. I have to develop on my left side. That's where the coaching comes in. But that's 2 pieces that you added to this team. 3 with a draft pick. But realistically, you're talking about adding 2 pieces in free agency. On the other side of this thing, I like what Javon Dexter did last season. I thought he struggled to come back a little bit after the injury. There also was no Andrew Billings next to him to help him out there. You go out and you get one of those nose tackle pieces, or you go out and get one of these pieces in free agency that's an edge rusher. We're going to talk about one of those pieces that could be available today. I think you're 3. We're talking about 3 players away, 3-4 players away. Now, again, that is a few players. but you have to hit on just about 90% of them for you to feel great about it. Debo A said, fam in the hoodie like he back in 2024. Where the suit at, champ? Bro, only reason I'm not in a suit in here, and when we back in the stew, we'll be back in the suits. It's cold down here, dog. This is a basement studio, but it is still a basement. We have not finished it. The ceiling ain't on. Walls ain't. It's cold down here, dog. The suits are not done, but it's cold down here, dog. Shout out to Miguel Goncalves for the super chat. Said depth is going to be a huge issue again this season. Zero depth at every position, both sides of the ball, 3-4 players is not realistic. I mean, listen, you have a ton of depth at DB. Linebacker depth was an issue last season, and that will probably be an issue this season. Defensive line depth, I think that you can make some of that up this season. Offensive line depth, that's all you have. And I think you can get it back cheap. Coleman Shelton is depth. Ryan Bates is depth. I'm fine with those guys coming in and being depth pieces. I brought it up yesterday. I think Coleman Shelton is an interesting name to keep around. Everybody breathe. Give me a second. Let me finish my point. I see people losing their minds already. No, I get it. He beetles on every play. I think he's interesting to keep around because Drew Dahlman clearly has figured something out at just about the same size, a little bit shorter, but just about the same size that has helped him be a piece that we're coveting this offseason. I think Drew Dahlman is 6'3", 300 pounds. I think Coleman Shelton is 6'5", 299. I think you have the depth on the offensive side. I think a Matt Pryor, a Coleman Shelton, a Ryan Bates, they're just depth pieces to me. But do you have it on the defensive side? I think the defense is where I'm more concerned about it than anything. Let's keep this thing moving along, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love as always. Yo, no Jordan JC on this episode, but we do got to let you know. Over 100 in a chat, over 200 in a chat, over 300 in a chat, over 400 in a chat, over 500 in a chat, 500. 194 on the Twitter side, man. Hit that retweet button if you're in here right now, man. 331 on the YouTube side. If you ain't hit that like button, man, you're just hating at this point, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. All right, let's get into the Bosa conversation. The Bosa conversation, this came out a little, I'm trying to think of like exact date on, I'm trying to see exact date on this, I should say, as I scroll. This came out 5 hours ago. This came out 5 hours ago. And this is from Dan Graziano and what he's hearing around the league. And what we've recently seen come out is there seems to be a little bit of an expectation that this is going to happen. The people, Dan Graziano of ESPN says this, the people I talk to think that the likely outcome is that the Chargers will cut Joey Bosa. He will be a camp cut, but they thought the same thing last year, and Bosa and the Chargers were able to get a deal done to keep him there. He's scheduled to make $25.36 million this season, but nearly half of that comes in the form of a $12 million roster bonus due next month. So while none of his 2025 money is guaranteed, the Chargers would obviously want to decide by the time they have to pay the roster bonus. That's why this is going to be something quick happening here. With Khalil Mack eligible for unrestricted free agency and the Chargers contractually prohibited from franchising Mack, keeping Bosa, who had 5 sacks in 2024, could turn out to be a priority. That is, unless they want to overhaul their entire edge rush room the way they did their wide receiving core last year, which is possible. And I'll be honest with you. It is what I expect to happen with Harbaugh at the helm. Why? Exactly what it said. It's how they went about fixing things last year. They walked in the room. They said, hey, buddy, you going to restructure a deal? No. Trade him. Keenan Allen. We don't even want to keep what was the other wide receiver's name? Mike. Why can't I think of his last name right now? You know who I'm talking about. Mike. My brain is going Mike Miller. I know that's the basketball player. Mike Williams. Mike Williams. Thank you. Pterodactyl Pop's hitting me with it as well. Pause. Jesus, Pat. That was nuts. The Joey Bosa conversation is a tough one because I do believe you have to take injury heavily into account here. But if you're telling me that I can get a player like Joey Bosa on maybe more of a budget deal, knowing what he can be when he is healthy, knowing how he gets to the quarterback. He's still great in the run in limited time last season. Again, missed some time due to injury, but did play 14 games. Pass rush grade was a little bit down according to Fifth. Still forced 2 fumbles last season. Had 14 solo tackles, 5 sacks. Here's where I think Bosa gets interesting. Can I bring Bosa in on a discount deal at 29 years old and maybe draft a Prince Umaliunum in the second round? Getting that guy where it's like, look, we have this guy. We know who he is. We know who he once was. He still is impactful when he's on the field, but I have this young piece as well who's on the field at the edge, learning from Joey Bosa, learning from Montez Sweat, getting his opportunity, still getting an opportunity to get on the field. I'm not saying don't play him, but maybe even keeping Bosa a little bit fresher in that situation. Now, again, it all depends on the kind of contract that Bosa wants. You see the numbers that he was supposed to get coming out of this season. But if I can get Bosa in here on he's getting 12 in the signing bonus. They're probably not going to pay him that. If I can get Bosa in here on a $15 to $18 million deal, I'm not tripping at that. I'm not losing my mind at that because, again, when the player is healthy, and he was more healthy last season, his problem was more so finishing the games. Kind of a little Tevin Jenkins's. But I think his impact is more when he's on the field. And so I'd be intrigued by Joey Bosa. I wouldn't say, listen, guys have down years, guys have injury years, and they bounce back. I would be intrigued to see what Bosa could do if you brought him in here. I would be intrigued to see what he brings. Now, I think the tough part about this is, right, with all of the other people that we talked about, with all of the other names, the Myles Garretts, the Micah Parsons, the Max Crosbys, the Trey Hendricksons, right? They come in and they're instantly the number one on defense. They come in and they're instantly the number one guy on the defense. Montez Sweat becomes your 2. In this situation, with where Bosa's at, I don't know. In this situation, with health-wise, where Bosa's at, that's tough. Now, again, I'd be intrigued by this. I'm not saying you got to go do it. I'm not saying you're dying to do it. But with him as a name on free agency, if you start to go through some of the names that are available out there, if you start to go through some of the things you're going to have to get up, if you told me I could get Joey Bosa at a discount, I'd be intrigued by it. The injuries are concerning. The injuries are very concerning. But if you get that healthy season out of Joey Bosa, is he going to be one of those players that stays injured? Is he going to be one of those players that is this is kind of the rest of his career? And I'll tell you this, I wouldn't overpay for him. If your price is 15, if my price is 15, my price is 15. You know what I mean? Like it's a discount deal. It is a, hey, you want to come here? No? All right, have a good life. Appreciate you, brother. You intrigued to play in Chicago? No? Have a great life, man. Appreciate you. Stay safe. Blessings. I expect them probably to want to stay out west too. I think that San Francisco is somebody who's in play. I think that when you talk about teams that make sense for him, I think Denver could be a team. Although I got to look at Denver's cap space. I don't know if Denver's got the cap. Although again, what's he getting offered? I think the Rams could be a team maybe in play if he wants to stay in LA. But we'll see kind of what the Bosa conversation ends up being. I think that that's an interesting one to keep an eye on as well. Free agency is getting interesting. It's heating up, man. Free agency is getting interesting, and it is heating up quickly. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. Do you want a Joey Bosa in the building? Do you want the Bears to go out and overspend on a Trey Smith? Feels like this Bears team is starting to move is going to be moving in the right direction. They're going to have opportunities to do that, a ton of opportunities to do that this offseason. We'll see what it ends up being in the long run. Hey, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. A little morning breeze, action. Hold on, let me get some music on here. A little music, a little fade here. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. Peace.
The best show for Chicago sports. Oh my God!